All right, it looks like we are ready to be joined for our weekly visit from the great Brandon Aubrey.
Hey.
Right here on DZTV. Oh, hold on. Rob's busy laughing at his drop.
Do it again.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my. Everything's going awesome.
I hear a little chuckle.
There he is,
Yes.
folks.
There
Yeah,
he
can you
is.
hear me?
There
Brandon
he
Aubrey.
is.
How y'all doing?
Did you get a ring light?
My wife had one buried, but yeah, I pulled it out.
Okay.
The shadows were driving me crazy last week.
You told us last week there was a ring light, and now you've done that. A bit, I don't know, serendipitous, I suppose, that we're starting off this interview talking about the glare and the shadows after the conversation coming out of the other day. That's never been a problem for you or for Anger, has it?
I think it would be more of an issue for Brian if we just hit the wrong part of the field and he'd have to look at the snap because he's kind of looking that way. But I'm staring straight down at the ground. So no, it's just I wouldn't be able to see it go in if we're on the wrong part of the field. But not an issue. I know where the uprights are based on where the hashes are. So I don't really need to see the ball.
How often, let's say you don't miss often, so this is going to be kind of a tough question, but do you know right away, good or bad, pretty much every time?
Yeah, I mean, there's balls that leave my feet that I'm like, that has no chance of going in practice. Luckily, those don't happen too often in the game. There's only been one instance or two, I guess, two instances of that where I hit it, and as soon as it left my foot, I'm like, that has no chance. And that was the first ever kick, the extra point, week one against the Giants last year in MetLife, and then the ball that got the Steelers said, yeah, that one had no chance of going in, even if it didn't get blocked.
What was I guess that Steelers game might be the worst weather you've ever been in.
Yeah, it calmed down after the delay, so we didn't really have much weather. The field was very damp and soft, so the planting was tough work. The foot was sliding a little bit and kind of digging into the ground and moving the ground. But I think the worst weather was probably Buffalo or New York my first year. That first game, it was torrential downpour, pretty windy. I was sick. I was fighting a cold or flu, whatever it was, COVID. Don't know. Didn't really get tested. Didn't want anyone to know what was going on. No excuses. Didn't want to get pulled out of that game. I was going to play no matter what. So that was probably the worst one for me weather-wise. Buffalo was just frigid and really windy, so that was not fun either. Buffalo in December is not fun.
Yeah, I would imagine. It's probably great to play where you play for you.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. There's big distractions being made about the sun, which can affect you every once in a while, but it's awesome in there. Nice air conditioned. They tried to open the doors, but I think there were some issues with the doors, so still haven't played with the door or roof open. So I can't complain. Anytime you're in an air conditioned indoor facility, it's good for kicking.
Yeah, others would say they don't want artificial turf. I would imagine you're the opposite.
Yeah, I love turf. It's very consistent. The linemen don't eat it up. So, you don't have a hard time finding a good spot on turf. Sometimes, that Steelers game in particular, towards the end of that game, there weren't very many clean spots of ground in between the hashes to kick off of anymore. So luckily we got our long one off early in that game. So there were still some good patches of grass.
What do the specialists do at halftime? Like, we've heard people make a big deal out of halftime adjustments before, like really the media and commentators do.
Mm-hmm.
And then you talk to players and they're like, it's not a ton of that. It's mostly just refuel, recharge.
Orange slices.
Or Or we've come to learn about the, is it the Uncrustable?
Yeah.
I think the Uncrustable.
Yeah.
There was an article about the.
What is that?
It's just a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that you give your kids because there's no crust on them. And somebody did a big article on every team's consumption and ranked them.
Yeah, no, I saw that article you're talking about, or at least I saw the visualization of it on Instagram. So that's a crazy stat. I wouldn't think of that. I don't think we even have any Uncrustables in our practice facility, just on game days. I could be mistaken. I could just not know where they're at. But I have one on game days if I show up and I feel like I'm missing a little bit of juice in the tank. I'll have one before going out for warm up. But to answer your question on halftime, specialists, a lot of them go out and then we go straight into the locker room, just relieve ourselves and grab some food to charge back up, and then head right back out there. So there's no chatting with anyone, and then just start banging away balls to make sure we're not getting cold. If I'm kind of unique in that way, I don't like hitting too many balls, whether that's into the net at halftime and warm up. So if we just kicked a field goal, if we were just on offense and I was kicking a lot into the net prior to going in for halftime, I skip kicking at halftime. I just sit there and watch Brian and Trent get to work, and then just kind of enjoy whatever's going on at halftime, look around. But if we were on defense or I hadn't kicked in the net for a while, then I'll do a little warm up on the field again, kicking some balls. But I try to limit my reps.
So do you not have like a routine that you're superstitious about certain things, that you got to eat the same thing or whatever?
Maybe a little bit. There's some things I try to avoid, but I just kind of, whatever I'm feeling like. If I feel full going into the locker room before the game, I don't. There's no need to put anything in my body. There's some things like I know if I've made it all the way through halftime and I haven't really eaten anything on the sideline, then I'm going to force down one of those stinger chews. That's what I like, those little stinger waffle things. And then I'll take some salts just to make sure I'm not cramping. Even if I'm not feeling like I'm going to cramp, I'm just going to get on top of it and make sure I'm over salted. I don't know if that's a proper term, but I just want to make sure there's no muscle fatigue issues. So get the sugar and salt back into the body before it becomes a problem.
Are you like a Zen guy or a
Young Wei?
Skull?
No.
Does
no,
Koo do Zen?
Well, there's at least a video of him signing autographs at training camp, and somebody just hands over their pack of pouches, and he double lips it and keeps signing.
Yeah, that's not for me. Any of that stuff. No smoking, no tobacco, none of that stuff. I just straight coffee for me. That's all I need to get going.
What do the guys do in the NHL?
Smelling salts is what I was going to ask.
Okay.
I don't know that's does that a kicker or punter use that?
I know Brett Maher used to do those before running out to the field, and our kickoff team.
Oh yeah,
we'll sit around and sniff them before going out, but no. Maybe if I'm really dragging, I'll do one of those. But yeah, I usually have enough adrenaline going that I'm good to go.
What was that thing that Micah did last year?
It was it was a pre-workout that he just, and I think he even like raw dogged it and didn't even mix it with water.
Yeah.
He just scooped the pre-workout powder and did a whole scoop and then vomited. It makes you very dehydrated. You've never taken pre-workout at all?
Nope. Yeah. Just coffee.
Coffee's the
drug of choice for me, I guess.
So I just thought of something when you were talking about the Uncrustables at work. You make a good living, but it's not like you're a quarterback or a pass rusher. Would you ever consider maybe taking Tupperware to the Star, and they've got a free lunch for you out there? You just pack a little something up, maybe bring the kid home an Uncrustable.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You don't need the Tupperware. They have take-home boxes for you. They kind of encourage that thing yeah, so we bring it home every once in a while. Right now Jen is on a particular diet, so not a lot of that stuff fits into that mold. So just kind of trying to cook or get places we know don't have the allergens in it, because they cook great food, but you just don't know exactly what oil they cooked it in, or if there's a little bit of dairy hidden around, or whatever could be in that food. So with her breastfeeding, Colton's got kind of a sensitive stomach as is, so just trying to make sure we know what we're putting into her body right now.
So I imagine you have seen this, and in my mind, there's like a league-wide specialist group text where you guys just you're all talking to each other about the happenings on teams. But so what do you do if CD decides to come over and try to grab you by the throat like Deebo did to Jake Moody and the long snappers in the way? That was an ugly, ugly situation. But good news is he ended up making his fifth kick and won the game. But I was thinking about you, bud.
Yeah, I have no idea what I would do there. Obviously, that's just straight emotion. But having missed 3 kicks, you don't really have a whole lot of ground to stand on. You kind of just hope to get another opportunity and bank it through, and he did. Obviously, his long snapper standing up for him. You don't want anyone coming over to talk to your kicker, whether it's good or bad. Really, just don't want any voices in his head other than his own. He's got enough going on in his mind without your teammates adding stuff on. And yeah, I mean, Deebo is, I mean, that's in my opinion a disgusting thing to do. You really shouldn't be over there piling on. The kid's probably already feeling it, and he knows he's letting his team down. And he wants to win. He wants to make his kick. So just stay out of it. Like, I mean, you shouldn't be crossing over. I'm not going to go over there and start shit talking to him if he drops a pass or he fumbles the ball. So just, I mean, it's ridiculous. That's not something a leader should be doing. And that, I don't know how I'd react, but it'd probably be more in line with the way the long snapper did, because that shouldn't be on the field.
How competitive do you get during these games? Because I believe it was on one of the fumbles, Banger was in one of the shots, and he gets visibly upset at the turnover. So are you kind of pacing on the sideline when the offense can't get it going? I guess how invested do you get during the game?
I actively try to dissociate myself from the outcome of the game. If I'm starting to get invested in it like that, then I stop focusing on me and just kind of what I need to do. I don't want to be focused on anything other than what I got to do. And, it's kind of a letdown emotionally when we turn the ball over, especially when we're in field goal range. So I can see for Brian, once we get into field goal range, all he has to do is hold the ball, which is still difficult, but doesn't require the same mental focus as him punting the ball. So he kind of tunes out, or he's not focused on doing his job at that point. But for me, when we're there and the fumble happens, it's kind of a relieving feeling / disappointment all at the same time. It's just a rush of emotions, and that's the only point in time where I do have a moment to feel and react on those things, so I'm not going to be called on for a while. And it's frustrating. You want to win games. Obviously, it takes away an opportunity for me to make a field goal or an extra point as well. So it is frustrating, and we want to win games, and turning the ball over doesn't help us win the game. So natural reaction from Brian, and I try and limit that sort of reaction, but every once in a while it slips out.
What's the locker room like these days?
Focused, determined. We got our backs against the wall. We put ourselves in a pretty deep hole here, but everyone who plays sports has been here before. If you play long enough, you're going to be on a team that isn't performing the way we think and expect ourselves to. And I mean, Mike McCarthy has mentioned before his Super Bowl team started 3-6, he says. So there's a lot of football left in front of us. We just got to go out there and find a way to win a game. Win one game, then that's all that matters, and we can win the next one. And then if you just keep doing that, then who knows? Just got to go out there and put good film, if nothing else, for yourself individually on tape. And if all the guys put good film on tape out there, we'll win the game. So just, we're focused. We know we have our backs against the wall. We got a lot of people talking crap about us that haven't been out there performing. It's easy to kind of talk crap when you're not out there performing. So we just want to go out there and prove that we're as good as we think we are, and we can win a football game in the NFL.
The actual physical layout of the locker room. What's that scene for? Like, I would imagine you and Brian Anger and the long snapper are kind of locker mates. Is that true, or you cross the room for each other, or what?
I'm across the room. They're next to each other. But when I came in last year, they put me in a locker by the offensive line, which is directly across. So I'm like kind of staring at them. But I'm with the O-line, and I guess kept that spot. There's only 2 lockers right next to each other where Brian and Trent are. So there's not even room for me over there if they want to put me over there. But when we're on the road, we're all 3 together. But at home, I'm just kind of like staring at them.
All sad. All sad, thinking
Miss your
about
buddies.
Dejected.
sad
I'll walk
songs.
over there with my helmet when it's time. When we're about ready to walk out, I'll walk over there with my phone and my helmet and whatever else I got, and just kind of sit next to them.
Do you participate in that NFLPA study, that survey that gets sent out every year? Have you done that?
Yeah, I think it's important, just like voting. Put your voice out and kind of give some feedback to the team on things you think they're doing an incredible job, they need to keep doing, and things that they can improve on. Without us giving them those feedbacks or that feedback, they have no idea what we want and what we want to see improved. So I think that's a really important part of our job, and really any jobs. Kind of, if you have an opportunity to get feedback, go ahead and get it.
Now, I assume you were only able to comment on your own team, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I just was wondering, I've only covered one road game before. I was going to say, like, what's the worst or most uncomfortable road locker room you've been in? Because I was in Washington.
Yes.
And the road locker room in Washington was worse than road locker rooms that I've seen in high school stadiums.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was. I mean, it was okay. So that is not normal. That's not normal.
That's not normal. No.
Okay.
There's a couple other stadiums that I've been in that are like that, but for the most part, like LA is really nice, and see what other ones were really nice.
Yeah, LA is brand new.
Yeah,
I
that
would
was
think
great.
maybe New York maybe nicer. It's newer.
Not really. That
Oh.
one is like middle ground. It's nice enough. Like, I'm not going to complain about it, but yeah, Washington was bad, and if I remember correctly, Buffalo is pretty bad as well. It was freezing in there. Like, not a lot of space, and yeah, just those two in particular stick out to me.
Do you keep up with Fighting Irish football at all these days? I know you said you never got to go to a game when you were up there, but they got an inside track to the playoff here.
Yeah, no, it's looking good. We watch their games whenever we get an opportunity to. So I've seen probably half the games this year. They're doing well. Obviously, I met the kickers and punters and long snappers over at the specialist camp in the off season. I got to walk around the locker room and see everything for the first time. So that was really cool. So I'm definitely invested. Hope they make the playoffs and at least make it through a couple games there and hopefully get that national championship.
Have you ever had, because you are a football player, have you ever had a situation where you meet somebody, you're like, oh, I play for the Cowboys, yeah, I'm a kicker, I played at Notre Dame, and you feel the need to be like, but it's soccer, though? Like, you clear up to them, or do you just let it ride, like, yeah, I played at Notre Dame?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it always comes with the territory. Usually when you're talking about that, you're talking with another football player or somebody who had something to do with football. And they're like, oh, did you know this guy? And then naturally, no, I played soccer. So, yeah.
Do you miss soccer?
No, I do not.
Why?
It was a lot more tiring, a lot less rewarding, I guess. And just, I've always been a football fan. I enjoyed playing soccer, don't get me wrong, but this is just way better. The job is 10 times better kicking footballs than it is playing soccer. Like, I work on significantly less skills, and it's just easier to judge my performance. And I just feel like I was made to kick footballs more than play more than play soccer. It's just I feel like I can get into the swing of things way quicker and have immediate feedback on how I'm doing. My performance doesn't depend on anyone else. So I just enjoy kicking more than I did soccer.
Were you hardcore, like travel teams when you were 8, all that kind of stuff? Because they identify talent pretty early around here.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't know if it was quite 8, but I was definitely playing on 3 or 4 rec teams until one day I played the right spot against the right team, and parents like, you need to go play for Dallas Texans, and so went over and played with the Dallas Texans, and that was one of those super elite programs where you're traveling every other weekend. You got your home games here, and then you're going maybe Houston, Austin, San Antonio. We went to Colorado. We had a team in Oklahoma. There's teams all over the place, and yeah, we were traveling quite a bit and going every Christmas and Thanksgiving for showcases in front of college scouts. So my whole childhood was dedicated to soccer. So I definitely burned out of it. So that's why I don't really miss it, and replaced that hole with football.
Did you ever get to play at Disney World?
Every Christmas.
For real? Yeah, because I knew somebody that did that once. So that was the deal,
yes.
Huh?
That's Disney Cup. That's one of the premier showcases for college scouts. They're pretty much always there. And the way it works, they divide it up. The older kids will go during Christmas, and the younger kids go during Thanksgiving. So I had an older brother who was 3 years older who did the same exact travel team set up. So there were like 4 or 5 years there where we were going to Christmas and Thanksgiving. So we were very happy to be done with those Disney trips because my family would drive from here to Orlando every year.
Man,
The driving seems like a beating. I can't remember if my
Oh,
family
yeah.
drove there or not when we went, but I feel like as a little kid, that's got to be cool.
Yeah, no, it was very cool when I was pretty young.
And
I
then,
hate roller coasters personally. So I did Epcot with my mom, and my brother would go to Universal Studios with my dad. I tried Universal Studios, but they couldn't force me onto the ride, so they figured they were just wasting their money on tickets to bring me in. So eventually they stopped doing it, which smart on them. But yeah, I hated roller coasters, so theme parks aren't really my thing.
yeah, I'm with you. I am a little bit worried about the first time my son asked me to go on with him, and I'm like, son, I'm soft. I don't, I
I'm
don't
right
really
there
do
with you.
that. Yeah.
but you could stand in line with him for 2 hours. That's fun.
I'd honestly rather do that than go on a roller coaster.
The line ride, I completely agree. But they tried to trick me onto, I think it was like a Spider-Man ride or something like that. But there were signs all over the line saying this is a roller coaster. If you're pregnant, do not get on it. All these things, and my brother and dad were trying to convince me that it was just like one of those moving rides where you sit down and very slowly takes you through a movie, I guess. And my mom was buying it, and so they were forcing me on. I'm like, I'm not going. This is a roller coaster. Look at this sign. My mom wouldn't look. It was ridiculous. They got me to go on it, and it starts off with a nice slow moving, and then it shoots you backwards, and I whiplash immediately. I'm screaming. Ruined it even more for me. I would not go on roller coasters unless I guess maybe Colton kind of suckers me into one.
Yeah, no, I like this. It's for Brandon, for me, it's if pregnant women can't ride, we can't either.
Yeah, exactly.
So support them.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
My last thing is a comment on the news of the day. I guess I just want to know: are you into Bitcoin at all?
I had a Coinbase account back when I was in software engineering, and I was buying it like $100 every other week or something like that. So I lost my account information, but I
no.
found it recently.
Okay.
With all this, it's surging. So yeah, I've got a little bit of Bitcoin, not a lot, but I got enough.
Okay, yeah,
Enjoy the ride.
sure, yeah,
To the moon.
yeah. You got to go find it
Absolutely.
now for sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you next week. Good luck Monday.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. See you, bud.
There he goes, the great Brandon Aubrey.
Later.